Hey guys, Adrienne Green here, and today I wanted to talk to you about a situation that I see a lot here in the Chattanooga market working with investors, and I call it buying a place blind. And that is where we will see houses listed for sale and there are no interior photos. The listing agent has never been inside the house, has maybe never even laid on eyes on the house at all, right? And has this house for sale for some amount of money and says that there are no tours allowed in the house until the house is under contract. I see this a lot, honestly. We see it a lot, especially in like the Class C neighborhoods, I would say is where I see it the most. And what we have to do then is pretty much put in an offer based on what we do know or expect about the house and realize that if the house is in crazy condition that is not what we anticipate, you do have the option to walk away from the contract, which I will explain momentarily. And then, of course, there's also with the inspection period the opportunity to negotiate any repairs or credits for surprising amount of damage or condition of the house. So what I wanted to talk to you about are, first off, the contingencies that you have in place in these situations. So if you're buying in the state of Tennessee, we do have an investment property addendum to the purchase contract, which I frequently use for clients. And one of the options that we have that helps protect you as a buyer in this addendum is it says that you can select that the buyer has not yet personally viewed the property and the agreement is contingent upon the buyer viewing and approving the property, and if the property is unacceptable to the buyer, that the buyer will notify the seller by a date that we choose in the contract. So often in these situations where we cannot get in the house and there are no interior photos, I select that for the buyers. I say, hey, you might want to check this, and they agree. And we select a day for, a few days after we expect that we will all have everything agreed to. So this allows, as soon as we go under contract, that then I can work with the listing agent and coordinate a time with the tenants where I can go in, take photos and videos of the house, and share them to the buyer. That allows us to get eyes on that house as soon as we are able to with the tenants and make it a determination if you'd like to continue in on this contract or not. And I've had it go both ways. I've had it go where, I get in the house, it's what we expected, we continue on with the contract, we have the home inspection, no issues. I've also had one situation where I went into this house and it was not what anybody expected. Sometimes what happens is, tenants don't complain about issues with the house because they don't want the landlord to raise their rent. So here, the seller, landlord, and the listing agent had no idea what the condition of the house was because the tenant hadn't told them. So I went into this house and it was not in good shape. It had a lot of electrical issues. It had some rotten floors. It was not what anybody expected. I don't think it's what this listing agent thought it was going to be, and it certainly was not what the buyer or myself as the buyer's agent would have expected in that house. So I took photos and videos. I shared them with the listing agent so I could say, hey, here's the condition of this house. I realize you've never been in it, but now I've been able to go in it, so let me share it with you. And then I also, of course, shared that with my buyer, and he decided in that situation that he preferred to cancel the contract and walk away. And because we have this contingency in the investment property addendum, that the contract is contingent on viewing that, there's no penalty or cost as long as we have that selected for the buyer if the buyer does choose to walk away. Like I said, I often work with my buyers and have that selected so that we can get in as soon as the tenants let us and get an idea if this is something that we want to continue to purchase or not. Now, I will note, getting into a place with tenant access can sometimes be challenging. So sometimes we're not able to get in until that home inspection. And of course, the buyer still has the option to walk away from that because we're in that contingency period and we can walk away because of the house condition with the inspection. But I do try to get in prior to the inspection if at all possible, so that I'm saving my buyer that inspection cost. So I try. Sometimes with the tenants it's impossible, but I do my best to get in there. And then worst case, I'm in there when the inspection is happening, getting photos and videos there, and that's within the inspection period where you still have the option to cancel the contract due to any inspection issues. So there are those protections in place. I realize it can be kind of crazy to put in an offer on a house when you have no idea what it looks like inside, even if it's just an investment property. But that is, the world we are living in, and there are the opportunities to, whenever there's a little bit more risk, there's an opportunity for a little bit greater reward as well. So, if you're willing to kind of roll the dice on that, then we can do that. And there's no long-term. The biggest hassle to you as the buyer is that we put together this contract and then you have to sign some more papers to cancel it. Like, the biggest hassle to you is the e-signing. So no real cost to you in that sense. So I don't mind doing it. I suggest that that's something that you consider. I know it's a little unusual compared to our traditional view of let's go in and see the house in person and do these tours and everything. But you know what? It also works. And I can see that, especially with tenants and with us still being in a COVID environment, that it's kind of what needs to happen at times. So that is one situation that I see with my clients buying investment properties here in Chattanooga that I thought might be helpful to others. If anybody has specific questions about what it's like to buy an investment property here, or if you're wondering how a certain aspect works, please, write it in the comments or reach out. I'd be happy to answer your questions and see. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please make sure to thumbs up the video if you found it was helpful and subscribe to my channel. That helps me with the YouTube algorithm. Thank you so much, guys. Adrienne Green, Realtor here, and have a great day.